WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square media station. WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick you, and I run it back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Radio Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter under Martin Houston Speaks. You are live, local, and ready to get into the program. If you are, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, and you're welcome to add to the content of the day. We'd love to hear from you, so go ahead and put that number in and dial it up, or if you tune in via chat, go ahead and let us know your thoughts, your comments, and what's on your mind. Got a great show lined up for you as we move into the conversation. Let's talk a little bit about the weekend, coming off of weekend in sports. Bama basketball, of course, coming up a little short against Gonzaga. The Zags taking a double-digit win over the Tide. Good and bad of the weekend regarding that game. We can talk about that. Also, after we went off the air, I had been insinuating that the silence from Bryce Young and Will Anderson, the fact that we were not hearing anything one way or the other, may mean that they're going to play in the bowl game. And so to practice or not to practice was a small topic on Friday's show. Well, it looks like they're going to practice, or they are practicing, I should say. And what does that mean for the Tide? Is that a culture statement? Is that a statement by the young men? Is it both? Both and? Is it good for Bama? Bad for Bama? What are your thoughts in terms of those guys practicing? It's interesting, some of the comments I've heard over the weekend. Some were, hey, go ahead and move on, guys. Others are saying, hey, it shows that the culture of Bama is different than everywhere else. We can talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on it, and we're definitely going to dive into it a little deeper this morning. Also, you can look at Bama players are beginning to pick their new landing spots, those who are in the portal. Many of them have some relationship to either going back home or going to some team that has some connection to the Crimson Tide staff here, Coach Saban. Some of these players ending up in places that have some type of connection back to Alabama. And so we can talk about those players and where they end up. And then just on a sidebar, this is really uh, looking at the quarterbacks coming out this year in the rankings by Mel Kiper, and just the top 5 guys: Will Levis, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker. That's the top 5, and guess what? That's the order that Mel Kiper has them. If somebody's crazy enough to take Will Levis over Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Hendon Hooker, wow. I don't know much. I don't get the Anthony Richardson being that high, but hey, to each his own. We can talk about that as well. So all of that is up for conversation, but you may have something else totally different that you want to talk about. And so you're welcome to bring that content and conversation to the show by just posting in chat, or once again, giving us a call on the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, and be the difference you want to see in the world. So, all right. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. We got a lot of different places we can go. We can go ahead and hit this quickly. Hit the Bama Zags game. Did you get to watch that game or see any of the highlights of it?
Yes, I did get to watch part of it and finish up with the highlights, really. And, when you look at this game, 190, it was pretty good game when you look at the amount of where I look at where Alabama lost this game. And you have to talk about the turnovers and the 3-point shooting is why Alabama fell to the Zags. You're talking about 21 turnovers for Alabama versus 9 for Gonzaga. You're not going to win that way. And then when another team shoots almost 10% better from the 3-point line, it doesn't bode well for you. Especially when, you have a guy like Brandon Miller going off for a career high 36 points. You lose those two areas, it really doesn't matter what your star player does.
Yeah, you can look at this game several different ways, and start off with some of the good. Some of the good, and C.J. Watson already pointed it out. Bama had the leading scorer. Bama won rebounding for the night. Bama got a lot of foul calls. I think that Gonzaga got some cheap fouls called for them in key moments, and Bama did miss out on a few key ones in key moments. But overall, Bama was in the double bonus for about 5 minutes or so down the stretch, but couldn't get any defensive stops, and shot the ball pretty well from the free throw line. But the turnovers, man, and I'm gonna tell you something. I don't like to make it all about one kid, but Nate Oates is going to have to make up his mind how he used Quinterly. Okay, Bama was absolutely dominating that game, up by 9. He put Quinterly in. I don't know if they do a plus or minus when a kid's on the court, but Saturday our minus had to be 20 points with Quinterly on the court. Once Quinterly came into that game Saturday, it totally flipped. It looked like he's pressing, because when he comes in, he's trying to make things happen too much instead of just letting the flow come to him. And we just seem to be a better basketball team. And like I said, he's not completely healthy, from what I can tell, but he seems to be pressing. X Joe. Joe, did you get to watch the game?
Yeah, I was up there. I was
You went up. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought Alabama largely played played well in spurts, but you still got your turnover issues. That 20 turnovers is not going to be, it's not going to do it against an elite team. And then Drew Timmy is just an elite basketball player. There's a reason he's up there for Player of the Year. He just was too tough to stop on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just him either, because I mean he got his. I think that the last two games, if you go back and watch, the last two games have been the opposite of what Bama does, right? The last two games, Memphis in this game, they start with the 2. They start with the inside game or 15 feet and in. And I don't think defenses are really and help me out, guys, if you agree or disagree. To me, the way Timmy plays and the way Gonzaga plays and the way Memphis plays, because you have to understand, we gave up 100 points against Gonzaga, and they had some threes. Don't get me wrong, they hit some big threes, but those threes came off of the fact that we finally had to try to come inside to try to stop Timmy and others who were hitting in that 15 and in range. And Memphis scored 80 something hitting twos, didn't hit a single three. I don't think the defenses are geared to stop that anymore, much like they're not geared to stop the power run game or the tough run game like a Georgia or Michigan has displayed this year. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. When you look at it, they hit 7. This past game, they hit 7 threes. Bama hit 8, but Bama took a lot more threes throughout the course of the game, and that plays a huge factor when you're looking at when you're able to hit inside. You're talking Drew Timmy scored 29 points and only attempted 1 3 that he missed. So they're killing you on the inside and making you pay that way. And even though the 3 is worth more, it's a harder shot to hit at the end of the day. And that's where they've been able to do it. They've been able to pound you on the inside and take advantage of that because teams are geared towards outside shooting now.
Yeah. Joe, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, Timmy's just an old school player, and really, if you have somebody like that, post player who's very skilled and his footwork is incredible, so he showed why he's such a handful on Saturday. Came back for his senior year, and really, he's one of the top end players in college basketball.
Yeah, and he, but you kind of give him his. It was the other guys that to me that were just unconscious, but they were all shooting layups or with inside that 15. He got his 29, but everybody else, I think one time they had to have hit like 20 shots in a row, it seemed like, where we were trying to come back, and Miller literally took the team on his back, but it didn't matter because we could not get a stop because they were working that ball. They were working, and because of Timmy's success, they were able to get everything they wanted. And the threes they took were timely threes. That was everybody has collapsed, kick it back out. But just to watch them, and like I said, Memphis made that game interesting and did not hit a single three. And so I'm like, wow. And we do it a lot. We use the 2, but we're using the 2 to get to 3. And there was times where we had a 2 and we kicked the ball back out because somebody was open at the 3. And we could have gotten 2 points because of the statistical analytics. And don't get me wrong, I love watching Alabama basketball, but these last 2 games have showed 2 coaches that have shown that if you are skilled in the post game and in shooting around the rim, you can put a lot of pressure on those teams to hit those threes and make them have to hit them consistently down the stretch. So, but Gonzaga is an experienced team, and I think, Joe, you said it earlier, you're not going to beat a team like this with 20 turnovers. I mean, we just gave them way too many opportunities, and then they had big guys step up in big moments all throughout that game, and so it's just not not what you wanted to see, but I did see this team come out early, playing hard down the stretch. In stretches. And I think Nate Oates is going to have to figure out his lineup, when to substitute in rotation, because to me, as good as we are, he still seems to play a lot of different combinations, and that has worked. But will those different combinations – what's his best combination? Joe, do you think he's figured out his best combination yet?
Yes, I do. I think he's figured out his best combination, but with Namari Burnett being out with a wrist injury, I think that throws a wrench into it.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to dog Quinterly, but did you feel the game flipped at that moment too? Since you were there, it was hard to tell. Watching it from here, it seemed like the energy just plummeted after he came in and made his first turnover. It almost like everybody was like, "Okay, here we go." And it just like snowballed. That's what it felt like watching it on television.
I think I'd have to go back and rewatch it to say that it.
Yeah, but at one point, like I said, I know he came in, and I think we had about 5 turnovers in about 8 possessions in that second. And that's when we were up by 9. He came in, and by the time they got him off the court, I think it was a 1 or 2 point game, something like that. So hopefully, kid will. Just let the game come to him, take his time, not stress. And like I said, it's different when you come off the bench and the guys in front of you are performing at a high level. Bradley having a career high game, doing some special things. And what can you say about Brandon Miller? We finally saw him show up in a big game, but guess what, guys? That's the first big game of that magnitude where he showed up. And the rest of the guys, and it may not be the rest of the guys not showing up as much as it was Gonzaga came with it. I still think this team is a really, really good team and can do some special things compared to what we've seen Bama do. So that's the thing about basketball. You can win and lose some big games. That Gonzaga team has lost 3 games, but looked like a team that by the time the playoffs tournament gets around here, they will be one of the teams to contend with. Will Bama? We'll watch them for the rest of the year and let you know and keep you in touch with it all throughout the season. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit of football. Is it good or bad that the seniors, juniors, first rounders, all in at Bama? What's your thoughts right here on the Martin Houston Show as the Bama football team begins practice? We'll talk about it. Is Kansas State in trouble now that all of the Bama players are all in for the Tide? We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We do have a report of a fire at the old Deerfield Apartments off McFarland in Northport, so watch out for emergency crews there. If you see conditions, just give me a call. And if you need a ride, then you need to visit Townsend Nissan. Great selection and finance rates now. I'm Captain Ray.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt, up to $4,500. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust. Finance charge may apply.
If you need winterization for your boat or jet ski, TNT Marine and Power Sports does same-day winterizations in most cases.
They also do repair and service on all outboards and jet skis.
With mobile repair available on Lake Tuscaloosa. Call TNT Marine and Power Sports at 737-5213.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hey, are you ready? The Christmas countdown's on at JCPenney. Through Saturday, use your coupon and dash away with very merry savings on last-minute gifts across the store, like fine jewelry stocking stuffers up to 70% off after coupon, and save up to 50% on comfy, stylish outerwear for the whole fam. Add curbside pickup to make your trip extra quick. We got your holiday. JCPenney. Offers good on select items through 12/24. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Starting with one store in 1978, Boot Barn has become the largest Western and workwear retailer in the nation. Supporting those who feed, build, and protect America, we offer the largest selection of cowboy boots, work boots, Western wear, workwear, and outdoor gear. With over 500,000 pairs of boots and thousands of top-quality jeans and clothing, it's an honor to support the people who make our country so great. Boot Barn. Keep West.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Increasingly cloudy today, the chance of some scattered light rain this afternoon. The high 48. Tonight and tomorrow, cloudy and cold. We'll have periods of light rain. The low tonight 37, the high tomorrow in the mid-40s at 46 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 28 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy.
You're back in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. And as we wrap things up, Coach Lewis said Burnett being hurt and lack of defense for that teardrop shot in the paint was why we lost, not Quinterly. I say it all goes together. I think Quinterly's contribution on the TO side is what turned the game. And then once they got hot, we had no guard that could stop their penetration and kick in. And then, of course, we never figured out. I don't know if you figure out the Timmy situation because he does that game in and game out. But we had no internal defense to stop them from getting the little in the paint short shot. And hey man, that's a good team. That's a veteran team. And Timmy, I think Timmy and Stetson Bennett are about the same. They're both like 50 years old and still playing college ball. And I'm going to tell you, age and maturity makes a big difference, especially when you got some skills like Timmy. The dude just absolutely knows how you want to play him and how to get to his shot. So kudos to the Zags. Good experience for Bama. Hopefully they'll rebound from it. Let's get to Alan. Alan, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen. QT, I love the way he plays the game, but he just has way too many turnovers. And I understand that he plays with intensity. I understand that he plays with heart, but the turnovers has to stop. I mean, it's just the way he plays, and he's always been like that. He's been like that since he came to Bama.
You talking about Quinterly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And my other question is to you. I'm just interested. Now we've seen Coach Prime how he at Jacksonville State. Does it concern you that he cannot win the big games? Would that be a concern to you if you were the athletic director up at Colorado? Because he runs through the flat when he plays other competition. He just can't seem to get over the hump. Would that be a concern?
X, I'll let you respond. I'll give you my thoughts on it as well, Alan. you're referring to the fact that they lost the national championship game in OT to NC Central, North Carolina Central. X, I'll let you respond first, and then I'll respond.
I mean, you can say that, but you also got to remember the fact that this is a guy that's in his third year, just finished his third year of coaching at any level of college football. And the fact that he's had his team there twice, and you can say, well, yeah, he's able to go pull 5 stars and a 4-star, but there's only a couple of those guys outside of Travis Hunter, Kevin Coleman, and his son Shadir Sanders. Most of these guys are dropping down to HBCUs for a reason, or they're HBCU level talented guys, and so I think it comes with the experience level that he's learning. And this year was a lot better than last year. And I mean, you had the opportunity to tie it and at least get it to another overtime. But I think it just comes with experience, and I think the more experience he has in these big tight games, he'll be able to do better as time goes on.
And Alan, what I would add to that is I didn't get to watch all of that game, caught the end of it. So I don't know exactly how all of the flow of the game went, but he did take it to overtime. And then in the first overtime, I don't know if you saw it or not, on third down, great play call by their offensive coordinator, hit the tight end right in the hands, and he dropped it.
Yeah.
So do what?
I just want to add one more thing, and I'll hang up and let you finish. I thought it was very classy, and I thought it helped the game a lot that Roger Goodell was actually there. That was very classy on his part. I just liked that. I thought that was very good.
And Alan, this is what I have a problem with. I don't think I would not be worried if I was Colorado for 2 reasons. One, like I said, is they still had a chance, and like I said, the coaches can only put players in the right spot, and you see, but ultimately the coach is responsible. But they had a play to tie the game up, and the guy missed the ball. And then of course 4th down, and then the other part is the fact that how many coaches do you think would have been able to have their team that ready in a national championship game if they were leaving? What would be if Georgia was getting ready to play, Michigan was getting ready to play, TCU or Ohio State, and their coach was leaving? What do you think the likelihood that either one of those teams would show up and have that type of showing if Kirby was leaving or if Jim Harbaugh was leaving and had all the negativity that has come with Prime? Those announcers make me sick at my stomach. At times, how they were dogging Deion and saying things literally down the stretch. This is the most amazing thing I think I've ever heard an announcer say. One of the most amazing things. It was 3rd down or maybe in second or 3rd down, and Travis Hunter misses the ball after a beautiful pass at the 1-yard line by Sanders, and the announcer goes, the male announcer was a female lead announcer, and the male announcer says, I know that there's some people who are happy that happened, or something to that degree, something to that effect. And he said, I know a lot of people that don't want him to get a win in his last game in HBCU. And I'm going, does he not understand that there are more eyes watching this game today probably than ever have watched an HBCU game? The fact that Roger Goodell was there, the fact that ESPN is talking about HBCUs. I mean, what Deion has done for the HBCU colleges and the SWAC and all of that, you cannot measure the dollars he has made those schools and the platform he's given them. So I was like, man, that is so bad.
Yeah. He brought sponsors like Walmart in. He brought all them big name sponsors that was never even thought about coming there. until Coach Prime came.
Right.
You know, and just the publicity he brought, the excitement. Them stadiums was not selling out until he got there. Everywhere they went, people had enthusiasm about going to see them play. So what he brought in was a whole. I mean, was a whole. How would you say it? People. I mean, a bunch of people came. You know, but he brought everybody in. You know, and for them to just dog him like that, the announcers, and he had no backing for the alumni. Heck, when he first got there, the water was so bad he had to bathe in the pool. His cars kept getting broke into. You know what do you expect this man to make? You know, he's making $300,000 a year. Then all of a sudden he goes making $5 million. You know, I'm not a smart man, but I'm smart enough to know I need to go where the money's at.
Yeah.
When you do all you can do for that, when you do all you can do for what you did.
Yeah, and I will say this: not everybody agrees with my opinion and my thoughts. And Curtis Lewis and Jackson State Prime and the media got what they deserve by how they kept shortchanging NCCU all week, treating them like second class citizens. And I didn't watch anything all week. I just happened to turn the game on and see it Saturday. And kudos to NC North Carolina Central, because they played a great game and they won the championship. It was their first one ever. So kudos to them. But I was just saying that the majority of America would not know anything about NCCU winning a national championship this year if Prime hadn't have been at that game. Let's just be real. He brought a whole new set of eyes to it, and hopefully it will continue. Hopefully it will stay there. Hopefully there'll be more eyes there and more opportunity there. But for me, if I'm Colorado, I'm not worried about Prime not winning those two games. The fact that he got them there, Colorado will be happy if Prime gets them to a point, Alan, where they're even being talked about after halfway through the season. Because you got to understand they won, I think, one game this past year. So if they're even relevant at any point after halfway through the season in the next year or two, Colorado will be happy with just getting there. And then you can start talking about whether they can start competing for divisional championships in the Pac-12. And I think Curtis said it. They're bringing him there. They said not to win championships, but for notoriety and fame. And that's what is going to happen. Colorado is being talked about. How many 1-10 or 1-11 teams do you know has gotten any coverage this all season other than Colorado? None.
I don't.
So there you go. So he's already done more to help them. Curtis told me, I'm not getting it, Martin, as usual. Prime brought notoriety to HBCU football, but he also belittled the other programs at the same time. Look beyond the glitz. I'm not saying he didn't belittle the other programs. I get it, but what I'm saying, and I'm speaking directly to Curtis Lewis on this one, guys. Curtis, what I'm saying is, yes, Deion was both good and bad for HBCU in a sense. But what I'm saying is, I don't really care why people talk about me. There's people who have said negative things about me, and I go, okay, but it brought me an opportunity. What does the HBCU do with this opportunity? Prime is gone. But there's eyes on HBCU right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what will they do with this? Will they take advantage of the fact that eyes are on them? That's the point I'm trying to make. Forget Prime. Prime is gone. Prime is no longer part of HBCU. Will HBCU find a way to take advantage, of it? Will they find another Prime? Will they find another way? I don't know. We'll see. And
I have one more question for you.
Do what?
And I'm gonna hang up. I'll get one more question for you, and I'm gonna hang up. I'm just curious what you and X got to say about this. Why hasn't Eric Bieniemy been considered for a major college program like Auburn or anywhere else right now? I'm gonna hang up. I'm just curious what you got to say about that.
All right. Hey, X, be ready to answer that when we come back from break on the other side. All right. Hey, listen. We'll go to break there. Curtis said, I don't get it, and I'm missing it. As usual is what he said there. meaning that I'm not getting the overall picture, I guess, when it comes to HBCU. But hey, listen, I work in media and marketing. Joe, what's one of the things you taught us in doing radio? Make them what? Love you or hate you. Just don't get caught in the middle, right?
That's right.
So make them love you. The worst thing, none of you guys would be listening to me right now if I always took it right down the middle. You wouldn't. You'd be like, man, this dude doesn't have any opinions. He just says whatever. No. You either have an opinion that people agree with or disagree with. You kind of tough to get caught in the middle. And that's what Prime was. Prime was you either gonna love him or hate him. And my point is, if you get the media eyes, figure out how to keep them there, how to hold them there, how to take advantage of the opportunity. It doesn't matter to me. If people don't like me, I go, okay, how do I take that and I counterpose that? If people like me, how do I take that and use that to get better? Make a move the needle one way or the other. Just be careful not to get caught in the middle. And HBCU right now have an opportunity that they've not had in a long, long time. Deserving or not deserving, the reality of it is we have not talked about HBCU on this show as a whole because we focus mostly on Bama, but Prime even have us talking about it when we have one of the biggest stories out there right now for Alabama football. The fact that our superstar players and our seniors are all in the bowl game. We'll answer the Eric Bieniemy question. We'll answer, is it good, bad, or indifferent that Alabama football has their seniors and their upperclassmen and their superstar juniors all playing? What are your thoughts on that? Is it culture or is it character? We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We do have a report of a fire at the old Deerfield Apartments off McFarland in Northport, so watch out for emergency crews there. If you see conditions, just give me a call. And if you need a ride, then you need to visit Townsend Nissan. Great selection and finance rates now. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
This year, like every other year, thousands of babies will be born on Christmas Day. Each is a miracle, the creative work of God through the love of a man and wife. The birth of Jesus was also a miracle, a more unusual miracle at that. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son." Yes, Jesus was born of a virgin. Jesus is the Son of God, and that is the miracle of Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas from Taco Casa.
Did you know Nissan EVs have traveled 8 billion miles? Just a quick trip to Pluto and back. And what did we learn along the way? Well, that an EV can take on the world, like the Nissan Leaf. It can move racing forward and take your breath away, like the all-new Nissan Ariya. We learned to make EVs that electrify. 8 billion miles driven by Leaf owners globally since 2010. Ariya not yet available for purchase. Expected availability late fall, subject to change.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
All right. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Having a little HBCU conversation there. Great comments between the breaks in regards to that. And I think Curtis Lewis nailed a great idea. HBCUs, if you want to keep it going, there may not be another prime out there, but start playing outside of the HBCU league and garner some attention that way. Quickly, Eric Bieniemy, how do you explain the fact that, first of all, he doesn't get a whole lot of love from major colleges and doesn't seem to get a whole lot of love even from the NFL, despite having been there? Is he suffering from the fact that he is on the staff with Andy Reid and Andy Reid's getting all of that credit versus him? All right. Are we still there? Joe, can you hear me? All right. Seem to be having some technical difficulties there. We'll keep things going until we're able to get that back on. You look at Eric Bieniemy, I think he sometimes is struggling with what that he's getting, less credit because of his head coach, from the standpoint that that Andy Reid is the guy that has gotten a lot of credit that Bieniemy doesn't get credit because of his association with Andy Reid. X, what are your thoughts in terms of that? You think that Bieniemy doesn't get a whole lot of love because of that?
I think it could be a lot of things. But I also, when you look at him as a college coach, I definitely think it can be the Andy Reid connection. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes just being a uber talented quarterback. But does he want a college job or does he want to stay in the NFL? That's one of those things when you look at even like a potentially after this year, DeMeco Ryans, could he have gone, if he doesn't get an NFL job, the question could be, well, why didn't he get a college job? Well, does he want a college job? I mean, I think you have to look at those factors as well. That sometimes these guys want to stay where they're at and move up there than quote unquote dropping a level to move up.
Yeah, and you just said something that I think the stigma is slowly being eradicated. Everybody used to look at college as a drop-down job from the NFL. And that's no longer the case now because these NFL guys, these college guys are making what NFL guys are making now. And Saban and others have gone a long way to get rid of that. But I do think that's part of the issue with Bieniemy. He may not want a college job, but you have to think, also put it back on his agents. The agents are the ones that mention these guys' name in terms of what happens with whose names is mentioned where. Like Saban probably is the reason we heard Saban and Jimmy Sexton. I'd be willing to bet. I don't know who Bill O'Brien's agent is, but if it's Jimmy Sexton, he probably got him mentioned with every job that was out there. So that's part of the process too. Is some guys seem like they're big time hiring, but it's because their agent gets their name mentioned with every game, every opening that comes up, even when the school's not. You know how recruits X will say they'll put Alabama in their top 3 or 5, and Alabama's really not recruiting them, but it sure does make it sound good, doesn't it? So that's what agents do for coaches. Let's go to George from Macon. George, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir? Is George from Macon
Like
still
George
there?
dropped. Yeah, let's say he's dropped.
He's dropped. All right. Sorry about that, George. Let's get to Chuck before we get to break here. Chuck, you in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, good morning to you all. It was just a great football weekend. And I watched the Celebration Bowl between Jackson State and North Carolina Central. And it's great to come on your show. You know, I watch HBCU sports and I watch all others. So I'm just a sports lover. And that's why I always listen to various people. I'm talking to HBCU media outlets, and I'm talking to you as well. And I just sports is universal. And it was interesting, you know, you watching that, you know, you saw Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter and those stars, but also North Carolina Central had some stars there, but Davis Richard, that 6'3" quarterback, and Latrell Collier, that running back, he was stiff-arming guys like Earl Campbell.
No. The running back, Carter, for what you call it, he made Derrick Henry proud.
Oh, man. And that
he may have had the best stiff arm I think I've ever seen.
Oh, yes, indeed, brother. And that offensive line, Central, was awesome, too. They talked about their physicality. They gave them a lot of love, too. And Trey Oliver used to be an assistant at Grambling under legendary Rod Broadway, and then with the A&T. He coached at South as well. And I've met Coach Oliver. And hey, you were just talking about, you know, guys, you just talking about Eric Bieniemy getting jobs. We're still in this environment where the question still coming up: are these places about places getting black head coaches like the NFL or at these college programs? And I look at it still, and it's up to those boosters at these various schools. If it's Alabama, Auburn, LSU, or wherever, are they ready for those type things? You know, go ahead, think about the social gatherings. Do you want people like me, social gatherings, like we saw Deion Sanders? It seemed like Colorado was ready for him, and he had to take a different route to get to where he is now.
That's a good point. I'm not sure we didn't lose Chuck there, but yeah, Chuck, you know, Chuck, you make a good point. You know, some of it is that there are programs that aren't ready for a black head coach, and I'm not sure that Alabama is ready for that. And there's quite a few that aren't ready for that because of the money game that it takes in the college game. It's not just whether or not the boosters are ready. The program's ready. It's not whether an athletic director wants it. It's not whether the players want it. It's not whether the university wants it. It's also they have to ask the question: if we make this move, will we be able to continue to raise the money and the support that we want to? Will people be comfortable? Will we be comfortable? And that's a question that has to be answered, whether you hate that side of it or not. And I think that some of that still impacts whether or not an African American or a minority of any type gets some of these booster jobs. So we have to take that into consideration. But at the same time, Bieniemy is one of those guys that I think. And Curtis said that he's a bad interview and may not possess the leadership guide. Maybe just some guys are just X's and O's guys. They're just guys who know how to run an offense, but they don't know how to run a program. I'll never forget. I've read Urban Meyer's book, and I have to get to break after this, Chuck. But Urban Meyer, when he got his job, he presented when he went into that interview, he had what he was going to do. When Saban came here, he had a process before. So are these coaches ready, black or white? Sometimes you see guys get passed over, and they may not be ready based on how they interview and what they say in their plan. So thanks, Chuck. But you bring out great points. There was a lot of other good guys in that game other than Jackson State. And like I said, the best stiff arm I think I've ever seen, number 5 on his way to the end zone. He annihilated that young man for Jackson State. Thanks, Chuck.
You all take care and have a great Christmas.
All right, thank you. Merry Christmas, Chuck. All right, come back on the other side. We have our 2-minute warning. We're going to talk about Alabama in the bowl practice. And, hey, how does this change things for Kansas State? Have we seen anything? Have the numbers moved in Vegas? I haven't looked at it, but maybe you have. We'll talk about Alabama being all in for the bowl game. Sugar, how sweet it is for the Crimson Tide right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways this Monday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, of course, give me a call, 205-886-8886. And if you need a ride, then you need to visit Townsend Nissan. Great selection and finance rates now. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. There should be no problem keeping the ice frozen at the holidays in the Plaza Ice Rink in downtown Tuscaloosa this week. It's already cold enough at night, but now an Arctic cold front will sweep across the state Thursday, dropping West Alabama into the deep freeze leading into Christmas Day. Highs will be in the 20s and lows in the teens to single digits. Rain could briefly switch over to snow on Thursday night after midnight. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. I'm Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Christmas is perfect for getting engaged.
You guys know there's no way you're getting through the holidays without going to at least one dinner party at her family's place.
And when you get there, you know everybody's going to want to see how old what's-his-name treated their little princess. Are you willing to risk it? Or are you ready to make this her best Christmas ever?
Ask her to marry you with a diamond engagement ring from the Love and Affection collection at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers.
Do that, and I guarantee they'll remember your name from here on out.
Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
Into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Something really.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now time for the fourth quarter to kick off, and we do this because of great folks over at Alabama One. Whether you're looking at getting your banking needs met in a traditional way, Alabama One can help you with that, as well as you may be looking for insurance with full service insurance agency, Alabama One Insurance, and Alabama One Wealth Advisory. Hey, if you're looking to move some money, do something with some retirement, we got a full service wealth advisory team, voted by one of the top, not just in Tuscaloosa's best, but also in Forbes. Come check us out at alabama1.org. Stop by our main branch location to get more details, or go to alabama1.org, where we're one together. What's your one? All right, X, as we get ready to get out of here, give me your thoughts really quick on two things. One is, what does it mean for Alabama to be playing in this bowl game, all of the players being all in, as well as I know you want to drop a little recruiting news that we'll dig into on tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great thing for the program in a sense to see guys decide to not sit out and to finish out what they started. You know, something that we said yesterday when having lunch, that these guys don't want this to end with them. And I think this is a great way for them to do it, even though they're not in the playoffs playing for a national championship, but to go out with a high on a win against Kansas State.
I think that going against Kansas State gives this team a chance to, as you say, what's going to be their legacy, and they don't want to be the ones that lower the standard at Bama. So, hey, maybe it is the Bama standard, Bama culture that had them going. But I think that Will Anderson, Bryce Young are high character guys, high commitment guys anyway. And I think their character and their commitment is part of the reason that they were able to get them to the other guys to play, because those two guys stayed. Real quick, and then we'll get to Pat to close things out. What else you have?
And number one offensive tackle, Caden Proctor, who is currently committed to Iowa, was here for a visit this weekend, and it sounds like things went really good for him, and he's going to have a decision to make, and I think it's looking good for Alabama, as Ryan Polito, a young man that's been committed for a while to Alabama, decommitted and is going to be signing with Arizona on Wednesday. So I think it looks really good that Caden Proctor will be a part of this class, as Polito was our lowest rated offensive lineman.
All right. Hey, Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston with Martin and Xavier on Alabama One Hotline. What you got, man?
Yeah, hey, X just answered my question. Was he ready to call Caden to Tuscaloosa? I thoroughly agree, and but man, hey, it sounds like James Smith and Quay are gonna be coming to the Tide too, and that'll be a major addition. And who is his surprise? Before we get into tomorrow, and we're going to do it tomorrow, but who's his surprise recruit to Alabama? We got surprise recruit.
I'm gonna go Desmond Ricks as a surprise, but I feel like Damari Brown is going to end up being the defensive back that we signed. So that'll be my surprise, will be Desmond Ricks, but I do feel like it's going to be Damari Brown from American Heritage. I think it is the same school that Patrick Surtain went to and Earl Little Jr. went to as well.
I got you, but hey, man, hey, you sounds like you want Christmas presents too. Hey, have a blessed day, and let's hope Coach Saban gets that Christmas present. All right.
Hey, all right. We didn't dig too deep into the guys playing. Curtis Lewis said it doesn't mean squat. I'm assuming he's referring to the question that I asked. What does it mean that those guys are playing? Well, the question becomes this. Does this help or hurt Bama for 2023? Now that these guys are playing, it's interesting that fans that kind of resolved that these guys weren't going to play. So we had many fans that turned their mind to, hey, we're going to get to see next year's guys. Does this help or hurt Bama now that you have the starters coming back and the stars coming back? Will we see a different bowl game? And we will throw this out there and we'll talk about it. The NCAA, I think, finally made a rule and a decision to help the players. It looks and sounds like they're waiving, at least for 1 year, bowl. You do not lose eligibility by playing in the bowl game if you are a freshman and you play that fifth game, and that fifth game is a bowl. You don't lose your red shirt. So that's big time news for a lot of guys, a lot of teams, and a lot of players, especially with guys opting out and a coach has played a player 4 years in the regular season. Will they continue that rule? We can talk about that, as well as Alabama all in for the Sugar Bowl against Kansas State. Are you now excited about watching Bama play the Kansas State team? And we'll talk about it more as we add DC to the conversation on tomorrow. Hey, remember this: trust in the Lord, always lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody. And thanks for all the chatters, listeners, viewers, and callers as a part of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We'll be back on tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways this Monday morning. Now, if you do see conditions